For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
So we've heard today in the news that the DA Federal Chair, James Self, said the Ramaphosa euphoria is fast evaporating. Would you agree with that?
I haven't seen that. I don't know. It's not evaporating. If it is evaporating, it's not evaporating fast enough for the DA to win back the degree of support that they had about a year ago after the 2016 local government elections. My impression is, although Ramaphosa has taken one step forward, one step back, not got rid of all the people who are possibly corrupt, although he's done has not done everything that people want, he's got a lot of support from business, from the ANC appears to be uniting behind him. Even those who opposed his election are not that afraid to, if they are opposed to him, they're afraid to do it, but also what they want to achieve in life depends now on Ramaphosa. So that, all these things he does, like go on walks, I mean, personally I'm not myself very impressed with that, but that has quite a nice impact on people in the sense that they feel that the president is prepared to come and visit their area, be seen with them. So I didn't read the whole statement. I read two things in News 24 by interviews with James Self yesterday, and he didn't say this. He was talking about the DA's internal problems.
And also sticking with the DA, we know that they've had issues with the EFF. Do you think that will also divert their attention on what they should be doing now, which is campaigning for 2019?
Well, I think it is very serious for them. I mean, they've got a lot of different problems. They've got internal problems, but they've got these problems in that Trollip, Ethel Trollip, may be removed as mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, and if they do that, show their strength with that, EFF might also then move on the mayors of Johannesburg and of Tshwane. And so they've got a lot of problems. Today, clearly they're anxious about it because Maimane says he would favour meeting with Julius Malema to discuss the question of Nelson Mandela Bay. And so they are preoccupied with this because it is very important for the DA as an electoral force to be able to demonstrate that the way they perform in government is different from the ANC. Now, until recently, the Western Cape and the city of Cape Town were showcases of DA efficiency and things like that. Also showcases of fairly high levels of inequality, in my opinion. However, that has been marred by the spat that they've had within the DA regarding Patricia de Lille. And I think they were hoping that the three other metros that they won in 2016, well, they didn't win them, but they won with the assistance of the EFF and other parties. They were hoping that they would be able to clean up in these areas the extremely corrupt conditions that were evident in Nelson Mandela Bay and Tshwane, and to a lesser extent seems in Johannesburg. And if they lose their mayorships in these places, well, then they can't display that. Then they go into the 2019 elections without being able to show a record of government. See, the ANC is identified with government, and a lot of people think that their social grants are a gift of the ANC, not a state grant. Whether it's, even though that is wrong, that is something that goes with being in government, that a lot of the things that happen to you are not seen as the state helping you, but a particular political party. And the DA is obviously worried that if they lose Nelson Mandela Bay, it'll be a disaster, because that was the one they thought they could clean up most. But if they lose that, they can lose the others.
And some people are saying that now that former President Jacob Zuma is no longer in the picture, the opposition parties are finding it difficult to pin down the ANC. Do you think this is also a problem for them?
Well, pin down is not the word I'd use, but I think that when Zuma was there, they were preoccupied with exposing Zuma, and Zuma was a disadvantage for the ANC in that Zuma was associated with a lot of wrongdoing, with a lot of corruption, a lot of wastage, a lot of personal enrichment, and with him not there, with an apparently clean president, the game has changed. As Tony Leon said, it's a game changer. But in the DA, there is contestation over how they evaluate the onset of the presidency of Cyril Ramaphosa. There was the head of policy or strategy who believed that they must continue to suggest that nothing has changed, or the ANC is dead, or some such thing. And there was Tony Leon saying it is a game changer. And so there were these contrasting views, and I think people don't like that statement that Ramaphosa being there just signifies that the ANC is unchanged and really dead as a party. So the DA has to advance its own vision as an alternative to a revitalized ANC. And this makes it rather difficult for them. The ANC is not outwardly manifesting its divisions to a significant extent. Sometimes you can read that the voices, earlier on especially, the voices of Ace Magashule and Jesse Duarte were different from that of Ramaphosa. But now, at the moment, you can't pick that up. DA, you can pick up a lot of different voices, and I think that's their problem.
And our Deputy President also over the weekend said he will try to speak to Julius Malema as well as the UDM leader to come back to the ANC. Do you think that will work in any way for them?
Well, I don't know what mandate he has, what weight he carries. You know, let's say that if it's his personal initiative, is he the person who's going to persuade them? I would very much doubt it. And so it's not whether it will be a good thing or a bad thing or make a big difference. But I'm not sure that anyone is backing that, because he only said that himself. It's only his opinion. And I think the way in which, if they wanted to bring back Malema or bring back Holomisa, they would approach them quietly, talk quietly. And I think they are having quiet talks, but about other things. And if they approach them quietly, then they would make a joint statement at some stage. And they would also make such an approach on the basis of a decision of one of the structures of the ANC. I would be very much doubt that they delegated Mabuza to make this initiative.
And we also heard that the ANC president yesterday met with the ANC stalwarts, which looks like now that they will be working together, obviously maybe making sure that the ANC wins in the 2019 elections. Do you think the stalwarts are going to make an impact in the next elections?
Well, you know, I don't know to what extent the stalwarts, what influence they have, what their strength is. But insofar as these people were in a relationship which was hostile from the side of the Zuma-led ANC, and now there's working together. I know some of the stalwarts were supporters of Ramaphosa before, because someone sent me a message about the stalwarts and then sent me something about CR 2017 last year, so that I knew that some of them would feel that their goals were met if Ramaphosa was there. So it's not necessarily a big change for all of them, although some of them, I think, when there was in the 1990s, many of them were supporters of Thabo Mbeki as opposed to Cyril Ramaphosa. But now I think with the Zuma era, there may be some merging of these people, and they will probably support him. But I can't say what influence that will have, because I don't know how active they are. Some of them do belong to branches of the ANC that are very active, so that might indicate support.
And are we likely to see maybe the UDM and the COPE and other small parties in Parliament making an impact next year in the elections, because we see that the opposition, the biggest opposition parties, which is the DA and the EFF, have issues, are not like dealing with campaigning as we speak?
Well, you know, what I understand is that UDM is very active and relates very closely with EFF and DA, but I have an idea that some of the smaller parties may not make the cut or get very much less members in the future. Although we don't know what the impact is of Terra Lakota taking a very distinct stand on land and on Israel, a number of these things, so that maybe he does, you know, maybe what support he loses is compensated by gaining from other quarters.
And lastly, Raymond, as a political analyst, what should these political parties, especially the opposition parties, should be doing now as we are approaching the 2019 elections?
Look, I'm not prepared to offer free advice. Look, if they give me a few million, even that, I'm not so keen on the opposition parties. I'm not so keen on the ANC either, but I'm not so keen on the opposition parties that I want to give them advice. But let's say there is a convergence insofar as what I'd like them to continue to do is to expose corruption and continue to be playing a role in cleaning up the state, supporting. They would do best if they offered critical support to the Ramaphosa-led government, and that I think would be the best thing for them to do.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about whether the opposition parties are ready for 2019.